Hey y'all, welcome back to Weekly Hyperfixations. If you're new here, I'm Riot. And we're just gonna go through everything that I found relevant this week. Which honestly, not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, though that might be because last week I was functionally making up for 2 weeks worth of time. So I feel like it might just be that. But fear not. I make the time that I want to make regardless. This is so bad. Anyway, thank you all for being here. We're just gonna kind of go through everything that was super relevant to me this week. First and foremost, something really entertaining to me is that for, I believe it was yesterday's Jeopardy episode, today is April Fool's. Am I going to do any japes or jests? No, fear not. Because I may be filming this on April Fool's Day, but it is not being posted on that day. So, therefore, not therefore, ergo, that's what I mean. Oh my gosh. So first up on the docket is yesterday's March 31st. Okay, March 31st's Jeopardy episode. You heard me correctly. Jeopardy, okay? This past week's Jeopardy episode was quite the doozy of people. It's referred to as like the YouTube episode made for YouTube fans. And I don't know about that entirely, but the 3 people, sorry, there's dog hair on the mic. Let me just get that out of here. The people, the contestants for this YouTube Jeopardy were, get this, Rebecca Black. Too bad they didn't do this on a Friday. Rebecca Black, Monet Exchange. Hell yes. What did I just do? Hell yes, Monet Exchange. Ignore me cramping my hand. I don't know what that was. I'm in a weird mood today. If you can't tell somehow, weird mood today. So we've got Rebecca Black, we've got Monet Exchange, and we've got probably the most qualified YouTube person to be on Jeopardy ever. Brennan Lee Mulligan. So, hello. I am going to watch it after recording this, and I'm excited. It's like a full 20-minute episode too, which is nice. And all the little promo things they were doing were really good. But I'm excited for that. They even aired some of the, like, in their promotional posting for it. They also showed some of the practice that they did just to kind of, like, you know, get them used to the format and stuff. It was beautiful. Next up, unrelated, sort of. So the Super Mario Galaxy movie came out today. But within the last week, it was announced that Fox McCloud is in the movie. What? What do you mean Fox McCloud is in the movie? What do you mean we got Star Fox up in here? Hello? I remember talking about it on a previous episode where I was like, yeah, there's a person standing in like the like corner of the image and you can just really see a blaster and it really looks like Fox, even though that's not a Mario character. And everyone was like, yeah, it's not a Mario character. It must be something different. Maybe they give Luigi a gun. Don't give Luigi that, first of all. But it was actually Fox McCloud, which is crazy work. And So not only that, but, you know, some early critics' reviews of the movie. First of all, pretty mid. Seems to be the general consensus. Mostly for kids and people who really like to see those things on screen. That's great. That's fine. But the most interesting comment I saw, and I saw multiple people making this comment in their reviews. Fox McCloud has more screen time than Rosalina. Bitch, it's her game. What do you mean she's in it less? She's the Galaxy Girl. What the hell? Anyway, it seems like they might be wanting to... Listen, I joked. First of all, I joked that Fox McCloud would be voiced by Tom Cruise because of Top Gun. Hey, it was a different guy from Top Gun, the newer one. Crazy work. And then I also joked that it would be funny if it was Fox McCloud because then it would be like halfway to Subspace Emissary. And they gotta stop proving me right. Ugh, is this what happens when you hit 25? Everything you say is correct. Like, and I'm not even there yet. I've got like a month. Ugh. Anyway, y'all, crazy work. Whoo, gotta calm down. I got really excited about that. But anyways, that shit is wild as hell. Next up, a couple more details regarding Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. I'm very excited for it to come out. I've been told that it's being purchased for me as a birthday present, which I'm very excited about. Even though it comes out in the middle of the month and my birthday's at the end of the month, but still. I'm actually so excited. I did play the demo. For those who are wondering, I started Yaoi Island as I promised I would. I am on the island. I am the mayor. And I have told the me knows that it's my lookalike because I was like, and we have the same birthday and all of that. And I can't remember who I put on the island at first because I immediately changed my mind, deleted all my save data, started over. First of all, I like how my me of myself looks a little more in the second version. I also gave myself like pale lavender highlights because I like green. So I'm like, okay, green goes well with purple. So I'll put purple in the hair because I feel like green isn't quite it. And also, this is a fictional version of myself that is not real. The me I designed as myself is completely aro ace. They will not be dating anyone. They will not be interested in anyone. And the only people on this island, save for I promised my housemate, that each Yaoi Island and Yuri Island would both have the singular different couple of two non-binary characters that they ship. And they will only be interested in each other, so they will inevitably happen. But the rest of each island, Yaoi Island obviously will only be men that are into men. And Yuri Island will only be women who are into women. I haven't started Yuri Island. When I do, first of all, my best friend will be the mayor of that island. She undoubtedly consumes more Yuri than I do, because I've only seen like a singular episode of Nana, and she's probably seen the whole thing. But I will be honorarily putting Banana Fish into Yaoi Island because that's what she would want. But my first two me's on Yuri Island will be the characters from Nana. So, you know, it's only correct, you know? But for Yaoi Island, I was a little stuck on who to put as the first two people on the island. And I settled. I saw someone who made Cloud, Sephiroth, and Zack. And I went, Hold on. Hold on. Me? Gongaga. So I made Zach fair. And I don't want him to, I'm gonna try to avoid having him fall in love with Cloud, but Cloud is the other person I put on that island. Mainly because I don't know. For some reason, I think when I was little, I thought that they were brothers. So now my brain's like, don't do that. You know what I mean? But I do want them both on Yaoi Island. So I do have them both on Yaoi Island. But of course, when in the Tomodachi Life Live in the Dream demo, they have your first two Miis, you have to have them become friends and you give them, you know, a topic or whatever to talk about. So of course I said Gongaga and oh man, love it. Absolutely love it. Perfect. Perfect. No notes actually, because I'm realizing that the list of things that you put in for Islanders to talk about, I am assuming any of the Islanders can talk about it. First of all, if some people haven't realized that, they gotta. Honey, you got a big storm coming. Because what? But my Miis, Gongaga, obviously. I just really care that meme a lot in my heart. It's a very good meme. So that's what I'm doing with Tomodachi Life Live in the Dream. I'm also slowly accruing a list of like Miis that go on each island. And thank God people are sharing their Miis. I was able to recreate Zach and Cloud just from the picture the person posted of the Miis they made. And I was able to recreate that almost exactly. Not really with Cloud. Cloud was much harder to do. Just because there was like shading near his eyes that was a little difficult to get. But I don't know, I'm excited. Also, a friend made a Mii that I really, really liked, and it was just like a doodle face, and whoever that is, I want them on my island. So, I should move on. Ooh, you know what? Actually, I was talking about Final Fantasy characters, so I will move on to the other Final Fantasy thing. I have been playing a bit of Dissidia Delum Final Fantasy, which is that mobile game they released. That does have gacha elements, but it's not that bad at the moment because there's only like 10 characters-ish, if that, to get. So it's so early in the game that, like, you know, I did 2 different character polls and I didn't get the character I wanted, but I didn't get any duplicate characters, so it's not a huge deal. But they added recently Onion Knight and my girly from Final Fantasy 11, Iroha. So I'm very excited about Iroha being in there, and I really want I want to get that character so badly. So I'm excited about that. Her design's pretty good. Her more modern outfit is a little lacking, but I think that's just my brain harping on the fact that her normal armor has so much detail that to see her in something that doesn't have as much detail is a little off-putting to my brain. And I think that's just what it is. I think it's fine. I just haven't warmed up to it. You know what I mean? Okay. Ooh. So a while ago, it felt like IKEA might have been teasing a collaboration with Animal Crossing. Nothing ever came of that, okay? However, an official announcement is that Pokemon Pokopia specifically will be doing a collab with IKEA, and I've never been more excited in my life. Do I have an IKEA near me? No. No, but I'm excited. I'm excited anyway. Mainly because I'm like, okay, specifically Pokopia. So what are you going to make? What are the things that you're going to do? Like, it's a furniture store. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Anyway, I'm excited to see what they do, though, because that's kind of confusing. And I am a silly goose for Pokemon things. Of course, however, I'm not going to buy a however many $100 system just to play Pokopia. And I probably won't be able to play Wind and Waves when it comes out, even though that's super to my chagrin. But meh. Such is life, you know? Listen, there was a good chunk of time where I didn't have Pokemon games, so it's okay, live and let live, you know? Eventually I'll get there, I'm sure, but that day is not soon, and nor is it next year or the year after that, probably. Maybe the year after that, but let's see. Ooh. There was a statement released by the Pope. It was released like 4 days ago, right? 29, 30, 31, 1. Yeah, 4 days ago. Basically 4 days ago. And it was a thread of tweets, but I was looking specifically at this particular one. That's very relevant, and I want to read it. And I want to reiterate that I am not practicing any religion at the moment. I was raised Christian. Don't know how I feel about that. But I know how much influence religious leaders have. And this is the Pope, okay? The tweet reads, by the way, crazy thing to be like, I'm going to read a tweet from the Pope. Okay, anyway. This is our God, Jesus, King of Peace, who rejects war, whom no one can use to justify war. He does not listen to the prayers of those who wage war, but rejects them, saying, and here he is quoting the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 15, even though you make many prayers, I will not listen. Your hands are full of blood. So anyways, I'm cool with that. I'm down with that. Absolutely, yes. I agree with that tweet, actually. Because what are we doing? You know what I mean? And I think that's really honestly gonna help with how some people in this country feel, and people who are on the fence about it. There are people who will absolutely listen to whatever the fuck the Pope says, okay? And so I'm very glad that he said something like this, because there are people who will listen to anything he says. So big ups for the Pope. Crazy work. Also, isn't the Pope from like Chicago or something? Where's the Pope from? Gotta stop it with the Chicago. I don't remember. Anyway, I have one more thing to talk about before the pyramid, and I'm gonna get there, I promise. The last thing is that instead of the Hellfire Gala for the X-Men comics, which they declared that they were discontinuing regular Hellfire Gala last year, so your homegirl's picking up any Hellfire Gala variant cover that I find. I've got 4 of them, and only one of them is a big name character, and it's X23. It's Laura Kinney, so, you know. But they announced that they were going to do X-Men Hellfire Murder. I don't know if someone actually died, but either way, it's a murder mystery, and that's my shit, dog. Ugh. Oh, speaking of dogs. Speaking of such a thing, I'm looking at all the character designs. They're all beautiful. Beautiful masquerade outfits. Everyone's wearing a mask. Some people, it's hard to tell who they are. Some people, it's easy, like Logan. Very easy to tell it's him. Kitty Pryde was pretty easy for me to tell. And I'm like, who's this dog? You know what my dumbass didn't see? That the holes in the mask were red. Why is Scott a dog? Not that I disagree. I just want to know. But I do think no gene in sight, by the way. Looked over the image like 6 different times. No gene in sight. Rogue and Gambit are there. My Pookies are there. However, I think it's very funny. No gene. Bonus points, by the way, if she's the one who gets. But no gene in those pictures, those promotional images. But both Scott and Logan are the wolf and the dog. Whose hand do I have to shake? Because I need to shake someone's hand. Over that decision? I'll hug you. Like, it's just so funny to me. Anyway, we should move on to the pyramid because I yapped for a while about Tomodachi Life, and I don't want you guys to have an hour-long video. We will see how that goes. First up on the pyramid this week is Fox McCloud. He's on the pyramid purely because he is very relevant, and I'm a little shocked that he has reportedly has more screen time than Rosalina, even though it's a game. The game that it's based on is Mario Galaxy, and that's literally exclusively her game. Like that was her debut, okay? As far as I'm aware. Don't quote me on that, just in case, but like, you know. But Fox McCloud is on the pyramid this week. Bottom spot, but he is on the pyramid because he was very relevant this week. Next up on the pyramid is my beloved character from Final Fantasy XI, Iroha. I'm assuming it's Iroha, but my phone doesn't know whose name I'm saying unless I really enunciate that H that's in there. But she's on the pyramid because I do care her very much because I like her armor design a lot. Also, one of the first events I played in Final Fantasy XIV was a Final Fantasy XI event. So it's nostalgic on like 4 levels to see her in anything. So that she's on the pyramid because she is now in Dissidia Delum from Final Fantasy. Next up on the pyramid is Rebecca Black, actually. Did you guys know she's a really good DJ? I don't know what I'm sorry. She's a really good DJ. She is not just defined by her song Friday. But honestly, I was really surprised to see her on the slate for a YouTube Jeopardy. That seems a little crazy, but honestly, I'm here for it. And I'm glad that, you know, she's getting to do something like this. Because as far as I'm aware, I don't know what else she does outside of DJing and making music. Like, and she hasn't gone viral essentially in a long while for music. She kind of had the song Friday and then it kind of tapered out. So I'm glad she's there. You know what I mean? And I'm excited to watch it. Speaking of, next up on the pyramid is Monet Exchange. Thank God. Thank you. Now I'm not a Jeopardy watcher typically. I used to a lot because I lived with my grandparents and stuff, but like when I was little, but also I haven't seen any of it since Alex Trebek. So, but at least I have seen every episode that the guy who is now hosting it had won in the past. So, honestly, good for him. But Monet Exchange is up on the pyramid because I don't know how many super publicly, openly queer people have been on that show. And I'm very glad. I'm losing my train of thought. Hold on. I can't spell. Oh my God, I really can't spell, huh? There we go. Yeah. Okay. I was checking something about Rebecca Black to make sure I wasn't wrong. We're good. But Monet Exchange is up here on the pyramid because not only having an openly queer person on Jeopardy, but a drag queen, out of drag, by the way, but still a drag queen, is a lot. It's a big jump, honestly, and I'm glad they did. Also, the whole panel of 3 is really crazy, y'all, because, like, what do you mean we've got Miss Friday over here, Monet Exchange, out of drag, over here, and fucking homeschool looking Brennan Lee Mulligan, you know what I mean? But that's why Monet Exchange is on the pyramid. And then, of course, next up on the pyramid is Brennan Lee Mulligan, and he is the highest on the pyramid out of the 3 people who are contestants for the YouTube Jeopardy, because he's the only one I think is genuinely qualified to be there. He knows a lot of random things. And I literally just put him in the second spot on the pyramid because of his qualifications. So that's the tweet there, I guess. Brennan Lee Mulligan's also great. If you somehow do not know who he is, I suggest a little Google, because dude's funny as well. And then last up on the pyramid, for reasons that I feel like I made pretty clear, but I will reiterate, is Pope Leo the 14th. Okay, 14th? Yes. Pope Leo the 14th. He is on the pyramid because, again, there are people in the country I am in who have been on the fence about certain things. And the Pope publicly declaring that, you know, let me pull it up again so we can get the exact verbiage. This is our God, Jesus, King of Peace, who rejects war, whom no one can use to justify war. He does not listen to the prayers of those who wage war, but rejects them, saying, even, quote, even though you make many prayers, I will not listen. Your hands are full of blood. Again, from that quoted part is from Isaiah chapter 1, verse 15. But, again, the reason the Pope is top of the pyramid is genuinely because there are people in my country who very much will align with literally anything that comes out of the Pope's mouth. So that statement, huge progress. Thank you. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. Genuinely, thank you so much. Also, I do think it is a very interesting time to live in, that while all of this is happening, the Pope is American. You know what I mean? Isn't that such an interesting thing to have happened? Anyway, that's the pyramid for this week. Let's see. Any other updates? I mean, I could yap forever about the theater production I was in, which, for reasons of doxing, I haven't really talked about by name or anything like that. But y'all, I was like, I'm gonna get post-show depression so badly. I'm gonna have post-show depression so badly. First of all, yes, I do. Not in the way I thought I was going to, okay? End of the final show. I struggle through my entire last scene because I realize it's the last time I'm gonna do it. And I have to, even though I'm supposed to be making eye contact with my absolute angel of a co-star, supposed to be making eye contact with him. Hey, I can't do that. I'll start crying. So I really had to adjust, and there were moments where I know I sounded like I was gonna cry because I was. But yeah. It was a lot, and it's still a lot. I'm not crying and like super, I don't want to do anything, you know, the normal things I do when depressed. Instead, I have gone on long walks 3 times this week. Okay. And one was the same day as set teardown, which is crazy. And then I went yesterday and I went today. And the only reason I went 2 days in a row is because I bought, what is it? Ultimate. I already put it on my stack of comics, but it's like Ultimate Revenge or something like that. And it's Venom and it's number 256. That comic book issue is where Paul dies. If you aren't privy, the editors of the run of Spider-Man comics made up this guy named Paul. So when Mary Jane and Spidey were not together, they shoved Paul into it and had her marry Paul and have kids with Paul. They evaporated his kids, by the way. I do know I talked about that in an episode. They evaporated his children. Cool, whatever. And they axed him. Actually, they stabbed him right through the middle this week in that comic book issue, and I have it. I'm so excited to own a copy of that because and that should tell you a lot, because I've never been so excited for a character to not exist anymore. I've never been so excited for a character to not exist anymore. And also, we all knew it was coming because there's no way the sales haven't tanked because of Paul. And now Paul is no more. And that's important to me. So I physically own that. And I'm so excited to physically own it. And I will be thinking about it so much. I did read it. It was good. But it is also, issue 256, and I haven't read any of the other ones. I just really wanted that one. Because he's the reason I haven't read the rest of it. Anyways, I'm yapping for quite a long while. Let me finish up my thought that I was having about theater. It's very strange that I'm not having the normal post-show depression where I don't want to do anything and I don't want to move and everything feels like too much and too little at the same time and things like that. Am I having a midlife crisis? Yes, I am. And I do say midlife crisis pretty lightly, actually, because I'm hoping I don't die at 50. But I guess quarter life crisis, if you will. Because when you realize that, like, oh, I'm already this old and I haven't done this or this or this or this or this, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I'm overwhelmed by that. And you kind of have to start thinking like, okay, what needs to change to get me to even just a better emotional state, or like, you know what I mean? It's really, it's been an interesting couple days. I'll admit that. But am I immediately trying to figure out what I can do that's theater related? Yes. Yes. I don't know when our town starts doing farmers markets, but apparently we were gonna table maybe at a farmers market. I'm interested. Please sign me up. I don't care when it is. I will do it. I will be there. I don't want to miss it. I also just miss all the people I worked with a lot. And I know that like probably none of them are going to be at that, but I do want to be around theater people, and I like everyone on the marketing committee that I am also on. So yeah, I don't know. Also, my seasonal depression is gone. I don't know if y'all have noticed that. It got warm and suddenly everything's fine. It rained today. It was beautiful. But anyway, with that, I've been yapping way too long. Been yapping y'all's ears off. Thank you all so much for, first of all, putting up with all that yapping. Second of all, putting up with how awkward I was at the beginning. I don't know what that was. At least I did not start stuttering, because in the show, the theater production that I was in, very high emotion show, very raw with emotion. There's just so much emotion in it, okay? So if I was struggling with my line, I would stutter, because that noise still fills the space, okay? And of course, there were moments when I did it anyway that the director really liked, and I definitely did it sometimes when she didn't want me to, because I'm forgetting my line and I'm trying to fill the space. But for a little bit there, I did start stuttering outside of theater. I don't think I've done it since then. I have been doing gestures like this. Hey, my head's not itchy. I'm just doing that because I've been doing that for 2 months. You know what I mean? Like, just things like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good time, though. I'm just so glad that it's warm enough for me to get out of the house. And also, did it on my own today. Haven't done that before in this city. I was able to get a ride about halfway there, but I still think I could do it. I still think I'm capable. So, anyways, I started rambling again. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you had a good time. I know I did. Honestly, I'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place. Hopefully I remember to pay attention to things that are happening in the world, because at least today and part of yesterday, I haven't been at all thinking about stuff like that. But either way, thank you all so much. I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. I hope you have a good week next week, and I'll see y'all same time, same place next week. So, yeah. Bye, y'all.